Hi guys, Hiysta here. I'm going to show you how to turn something like this into something like this. It's really simple and there's very small tricks that you can use to change your whole appearance of your building. If you're tired of building things and looking at them and thinking they're a bit bland, well, these are some easy steps that you can follow to really spruce up your building and make it from the outside look really nice. So as you can see here, we have the bog standard building, we have the rectangle shape. Now it looks okay, you know, we have the windows, we have the door, it's a working building, it has a roof, it has the walls as well. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take away these windows and we're going to give it a little bit more life. And also we're going to change the way the door's working as well. So the first thing I want to do is delete these windows. So we enter the group. So I'll get rid of these like that. And what I'm going to do, I'm also going to delete the walls that I've placed inside as well. So the best way that I find to do this would be to use these parts here, which is the 4x1 walls. Now what you're going to do is place them in along the bottom like that. And you're going to hold down shift and you're going to bring it up on the grid and it will click there like that. And then you're going to bring them along again. There you go. And then you kind of have your open window frame already. Now for windows, you're going to want to enter the building accessories, which is found here. You're going to find the panel glass square. You're going to make sure in your settings down here, you're going to click on stack objects on other modular items. So click on that and you'll see now that the window is now stacking on top of anything on the surface. So you're going to place it like this along the wall. Let's zoom in a little bit closer so you can see. I'll also put on the torch to help. And you're just going to press the V button and you're going to move it inwards like that. You're going to bring it up just about there and you're just going to stretch it out just a tiny bit so you've got the bottom and the top covered in connecting. Now once that's in place, you can either place that down as a single item and then move it across. But what I would recommend with glass panels, so you don't get this sort of blending in line that you can see here as you look through, I'd recommend that you would use the item, select it, so you're going to move it, put it back into its position in the middle, and then you're going to press on the stretch and you're going to stretch this out completely like this. Now you can come along again, you'll find a perfect middle part. Now if you place it once, you can see through quite well. If you was to duplicate that item, it just gives a little bit more of a tint to it, which I find makes a big difference on the glass. So now we have the window in, we have a nice viewing area coming out and going in. Obviously we can see some grass there, but this is just the exterior that we're working on. So what we're going to do now, we're going to select all those items, so double click on the glass, the ones at the bottom as well and the top, and we're going to move just this section manually. So come up here to advanced editing, which is the V key, and we're going to move it across like this, place that down like that, and you can see we've come in now. And what I'm also going to do, I'm going to place a wall along here. So the best way you can do this, you could either duplicate it from here, which will allow it to come back in and snap, or you can place it manually yourself. This would probably be the best way because you are building onto a grid. So I'm just going to place it there. And I'm probably just going to move this just a little smidge more, make it a little bit more even like this. And straight away we've got a little bit of character going on already with the building. Now next up, we're going to have a look at the door. So as you can see, I've just placed the door on the front there. There's nothing really going on, but it's just stuck on the front and it's just has no life to it at the moment. So I'll delete that door. And I'm also going to delete that wall. Now in the game you do have the option to use this, which is the doorway. So I'm going to place that down like so, just like that. And I'm going to get the door again. So if we find the door, which is just this one here, and again making sure that this is clicked on here, so this is highlighted so you know it's going to snap onto the wall like this. And I'm just going to bring it up like that. And again I'm going to press V, bring it across, although that door is slightly wonky, not too sure why. We'll just move that like that so my OCD is satisfied. There we go. And we're just going to stretch it out now just so we can fit it inside of the doorway. Maybe just push it in just a little bit there. I want to keep the hinges exposed as well, which also gives it a lot of realism. But we'll just bring it over maybe about there. Stretch it out just a smidge more like that. So there with the door, you can see by putting it into the frame of the wall, it gives you that little bit of depth as well around the door. Now if you did want to change a little bit more and add a little bit more depth to it, which is a really easy way to do, is that most doors come with a frame around them. So you can go into the structural elements, I believe that's what it is, and you can find a part that you like. So for example, if just to show it on the screen, I'm going to use the black beams here. So I'm going to grab this one. I'm just going to place it like that, sink it halfway into the wall before it snaps on the rotation. I'm going to press the V key again. You're going to find that the V key is going to be your best friend when you come to building. It really does allow you to make minute differences and get really fine controls in building. So I'm just going to bring that in across like that. Click it down on, keep the shape so I don't lose it. Bring it across. Make sure I cover that wood inside like that. And now I'm going to rotate it. But before I do that, make sure angle snap down here is highlighted. So we click on that, rotate it, and you'll see it's gone at 90 degrees. We'll bring that up to roughly around the top, and we'll just shorten it with the lengthening tool, like so. And just to make it even, to hide it behind that bit there, just push it just a smidge behind the wall, and you will see you have a frame around the door. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a bit of decorations just outside the window. So what we're going to do here, you can see we have the already down as the flooring. So we're going to select that. We're going to click here on the duplicate. As you can see, the grid is still selected, so we can place these down. Just extend them out like that, and you've got kind of an extended area now. To highlight these walls, again, we're going to duplicate this, but we're going to use the advanced movement tool here. So click on this one up in the corner, move them with the arrows, bring them to around here. And what I would do, I would just lower it maybe halfway, so down to there, just like that. Now what you want to also do is going to the, I believe it is the rock and sticks. No, sorry, it is the gardening. So go into the gardening, and you're going to find these kind of mud selections, which is like the substrate that you can place down and give your plant some life. So again, keeping the angle snap on because it will help you in this scenario. Have it flush on the floor, press the Z key to rotate, line it up almost where you want it, like here. Then you're going to press the V key, and you're going to bring it over like this, so you're inside now. And just as it is a little bit smaller, as you can see, than the gap that we have, again, we're going to use that key there, spread it out just a smidge, lengthen a bit more there, just so it's nice and plush against the walls. There we go. Just bring it down just a little bit like that, and you can see instantly we have a nice bedding there for some plants. Now, how you decorate your plants is all down to your taste. So for an example, I'm just going to use some basic flowers along here. We're going to place in one like that. Now you can have them all nicely even, like into a, to make them, really satisfyingly easy to look at, or you can place them down, just kind of scatter them around. Sometimes it all depends on kind of what you're looking at. Some plants can be really organized, some can be really scattered, and they kind of work in both ways, and just as long as you've got some life going on there and a bit of foliage. So there, if you have a look there, we've got some flowers now, giving it a bit of life. Something's going on there, so it's looking pretty nice now, and we're just going to add a few more details on the front, change these walls here and this wall here. Now, because I'm using different color wood for his example to show you what's changed from the original build, I'm now going to change this because it's part of the front, and also this one. So what I want to do, I want to highlight this wall. I'm just going to change the style into this, like so. Also this one, just by clicking on the wall and clicking on a different style, you can change it very, very simply like that. So there we have a nice and even wood in the front. Now looking at the roof, we're going to extend the roof just a little bit, and we're also going to put a slight angle to it as well. So at the front here, I want to have an extra edge coming out. So instead of replacing them, I'm just going to select them. And I don't want to make the whole thing like a whole square next along. So what I want to do, I'll make it halfway. So again, I'm going to use the advanced duplicate move. Click on that, bring it across roughly halfway. Now what you might get as well, you might get this mesh kind of sitting over each other that you see. If you just raise it just a smidge like so, you can see one becomes more dominant than the other. So I'm just going to bring it up just a little bit like that. Place it there so we shouldn't have any of those flickering issues. Now we have the kind of roof coming over onto the front, and now I'm going to add in some pillars as support. So if we go along here, we should find some structural elements which you'll find here. So I'm going to get the pillar, which is a little bit too big for me at the moment. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to find the position that I need, like that. I'm going to press the V key so it's locked into position. I'm going to now shrink the size of it, make it a little bit more thin, just like that. Maybe make it just a little bit more taller, not too tall. Place it down once, and to keep it on the same angle, we're going to move it across so it doesn't move, and we're just going to place it just about there like that. So now to add a bit of style to the roof. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of duplicate the roof, make a double layer for it. But before I do that, I want to build a wall, which is another 4x1 piece. So if we come down here into the wall sections, have a look here, find a 4x1, bring this along until you hold down shift until it snaps, press the Z key, get some rotation there, and we'll just place it along here like that. We'll come along, press the Z key again, bring it out like so, Z key again, always does that. Keep going around until you've completed it into another square or a rectangle, and you have kind of this second layer to a roof now. Now you could leave it like that, and you could put in your air conditioning units, which could be very simple. you would use items like this. This is just a rough example I'm going to show you now, but you would use something like this and you'd have them laying around on the roof, just coming along, and maybe you're sticking like an air vent or air duct, or maybe even something like this as well, and it would really change the appearance of the roof. But I'm going to add a little bit more to it now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in a angled piece. So if we come down here, you should be able to find a nice angle, which is a 4x1 slanted wall. So we'll just bring that up, bring it across. And what I want it to do, I want it to cover 2 squares. So I'm going to place it here. I'm going to come out of it, and I'm just going to stretch this now so it comes across. So I go like that, bring it across just to the point of the edge here. So make sure that you've got right to the point there. So just bring it across just a little bit more. There we go. And then the easy way for this is to duplicate the item again, bring it across just like that. And you can see we've got a little bit of a slant now. Now with the roof, you can either copy this item, you can bring this item up and then move it manually to match the roof, which is not a bad idea. Sometimes I do that. I do find it sometimes more satisfying, but you can see this, it just has to get it bang on to where you want, but it's very easy to do. And then you can stick to the grid that you've placed it on, continue to come across. Once you've placed those 3, that's all you need to place, because now you're going to highlight each one, you're going to duplicate that item, but you need to make sure that it's going to match the angle that you've placed it on. As you can see, sometimes in the game it does it and sometimes it doesn't. If it does this, don't worry, just bring it across like this, match it roughly around there. If you bring it up manually like that, you can see it fits just perfectly. And there we have a slanted roof, adds a bit of volume to it, adds a bit of life to it. Just on this side, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring in another 4x1 wall. So we'll bring that in like so. We can just bring it up holding the shift key. And I would say I'm going to press the V key now, place this just manually, bring it across, just so it connects to the wall. So now that that's in, I want to place another bit here, but I want to use a vent. So for the vent, I'm going to use props. I'm going to come down here. Now actually what I'm going to use structural elements, I think. There should be like a fence, I believe, maybe like this wood here. So I'm going to use the wood. So we'll get it to come up. We'll get it to just float along here. And I'm going to change the color of this as well. So I'm going to bring it down, maybe like that. What I'll do, I change the color because we're going to go for a bit of an industrial roof, like so. Bring it across, find the middle, stretch it out completely. And you've got kind of a vented roof there now, you can see. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add in some air vents to the roof, give the roof a bit of realism. Not too much, not overkill. I have done it before where I've placed far too many and it looks ridiculous. So I'm just going to place this one down here, but I'm also just going to make it a smidge smaller. So entering the movement part where we can edit the scaling. So if we come down, just make it just a little bit smaller like so, just enough so you can still see the feet. And we're going to place that there, maybe another one there and another one there. And then by still staying in this group or not exiting it, you can click on this item here, which will keep the scaling locked. So here I'm going to rotate this, keep it locked on the grid by angle snap, rotate that like so, and as you can see it snaps on. But for me, I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller, come across like that, and you can see we have a vent. Now I'm also going to keep that, move that across here, again 90 degrees, come across, connect it like that, and you have an air vent that looks like it's now connected into the building underneath and on the roof. Now also in the general props down here, you can see we've got a few more items. So one of the things I do like to add on is one of these, which is the air conditioning vent. They are quite large, so I'm going to plonk one there and I'm going to plonk one just over here. Where you place them doesn't really matter. There's no floor plan in terms of how you're going to lay something out on a roof, especially when you're playing the game. There might be for obviously proper buildings and that, but when you're playing the game like this, normally things are just scattered on roof. You can see that on Google Maps, you can see how they work. Some of them look really, really bad, but again, it's what works. So we're just going to place some things like that, and maybe even an air conditioning unit like this. What you can do with this, you can change these into any shape you like. So I like to make these larger, and you've got this kind of custom unit now, and you're just going to place that along here, right there. So you have now the kind of roof and the kind of depth going onto it with a bit of life. So this is basically the easiest way I find that you can really spruce up a building from your rectangle. It's just by adding in some simple angle shapes here. Again, this is nothing too in-depth. This is not going to show you how to build something really, really detailed, really extravagant or anything like that. But it's just to show you, just to make you move on for your next step of building like beginner buildings into something a little bit more realistic. The last few minutes, I'm just going to spruce this up just a little bit more, give it a little bit more life. As you can see, we're lacking some windows around here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a quick little speed through, and I'm going to show you just how I'm going to change it, bring it to life, and give it a bit of character. So there you have it, guys. There's some quick tips on how you can change your rectangle building, give it a bit of life, just to help you out. Again, it's nothing too spectacular. It's just to go from the real basics of a rectangle or a square and into something just a little bit more realistic and a little bit more lifeful. If you found this really helpful, don't be afraid to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think. And I'll also be producing more videos as well. For the next one, I'll be looking into interior and how you can bring some life inside of your buildings and how you can make your buildings probably look even better than the prefabs already supplied in the game. Once again, guys, thank you for watching. See you later. Bye bye.